Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I want to talk to you about lots of stuff today, but I'm going to start with the developments on the ground from today in Gaza. Some of you may recall a couple of weeks ago, Israel told the population of Gaza, you need to understand that Hamas is unable to protect you anymore and that they're unable to fry an egg. Hamas sent a response saying we don't have time frying eggs because we're too busy barbecuing your merkavas. So it seems like today this barbecue has been extended to their helicopters because they confirmed that they targeted 3 Israeli helicopters with SAM-18 anti-aircraft missiles that are held over the shoulder. So for the first time in this war, Hamas is starting to use the SAM-18 missile. This is coming alongside multiple other reports from the ground. One of them is that 49 Israeli soldiers were confirmed to be wounded or killed, according to the Palestinian resistance. And the Associated Press, they released something really interesting. They said that over 20,000 Israeli soldiers are wounded from this war. This is the highest figure that we received so far. I mean, the highest figure was published previously by the Israeli hospitals. They confirmed that they treated over 10,000 Israelis, but this number, you're talking about a much higher number. It's double the number and 4 times higher than the number of casualties that Yahya Sinwar confirmed a couple of days ago. And also for the first time, the Palestinian resistance took down a Skylark UAV in North Gaza, in Tal al-Za'tar, near Tal al-Za'tar area. And they're obviously using sophisticated weapons to target these unmanned air vehicles because they're holding some of them in very good shape. I mean, the Palestinian Saray al-Quds, they showed an Israeli UAV that was completely intact and could be used again. In the meantime, Israel is saying that they are going to take months. The IDF chief, he said this war could take months. It's literally something that many Israelis are reiterating lately, especially when it comes to the leadership. So we're unsure exactly where things are headed because 2 sides are escalating at the same time. I mean, 2 routes we have at the moment. One route, you're hearing that negotiations are taking place, that the Qataris are putting another offer on the table, but from the tone of the Israeli leadership, they're still threatening. So we'll see how that goes, if you're going to talk about a matter of months or if they're going to submit to the pressure and actually try and reach a deal. Now, Abu Ubaida, in his statement today, he released a statement and he reiterated that he's sending his message to the Palestinian people, the Arab Muslim nations, and the free people of the world. He said that, you know, they didn't want the war, but they have to face Israel because rights are not granted like that. People have to sacrifice to get their rights. And I mean, it's obviously evident from previous revolutions that we've seen throughout history, where nations contributed lots of lives and lots of blood to get their rights. And he also stated a couple of facts to do with the war itself. He said that in total, the Palestinian resistance took down over 825 Israeli vehicles so far, whether it's Merkava tanks, bulldozers, soldier carriers, or other vehicles that the Israeli army uses, 825. And that's coming with the Israeli reports that they're getting parts for the Merkava because so many of them have been damaged and they need to repair them. So they're getting completely roasted, literally barbecued. And on the northern front, yesterday I spoke about Hezbollah having one of its most intense days in Israel, attacking deeper into Lebanon. They killed 3 civilians in Bint Jbeil in South Lebanon. But today Israel confirmed that yesterday Hezbollah launched over 80 rockets at Israel. And today they reached Haifa, which is the most significant northern city in Israel, apparently with a UAV that the Iron Dome did not intercept. So things are still very tense. Obviously, the Palestinian resistance showed more videos, more footage of them taking down many Israeli Merkava tanks. And the fascinating thing with these videos is we're still seeing that zero distance day by day, which is constantly debunking the Israeli narrative. I mean, the Palestinians are not just winning on the ground, they're winning with the marketing, they're winning with the awareness, they're winning with the images that they're showing, the way they record everything, to not give Israel any excuse to say that what they're saying are lies. Like today, they shot at a tank, they missed it the first time. They went out again the same time. Imagine, now these tanks, they have cameras, they have backup, they're in the air. They went out again up until they hit it the second time. Even though usually they strike kind of from the first time because their RPGs are manually held and manually aimed. You need to be well trained to use them properly. But the Palestinian resistance, they're very efficient and they look like they're well trained to use them. Because like I said, they took down over 820 so far, as Abu Ubaidah confirmed earlier on today. The second thing I wanted to talk to you about is Hamas released a video today. They released a video about Oren Shaul, who is an Israeli soldier who might be dead, but it's not confirmed, who has been in Gaza for 9 years now, and Israel still hasn't released. So his birthday was on the 27th of December, so it's part of their kind of psychological campaign. They obviously have their own psychological campaigns, the Palestinian resistance. They showed a video of him with songs in like Hebrew, his mother saying that, I have no reason to live, obviously in the Israeli media. But they just wanted to highlight how Israel does not really care about its soldiers, because this guy's been in Gaza for 9 years, and whether it's a body or not a body, they haven't released him. But he's not the only one who has been in Gaza before the 6th of October. You have 4 Israeli soldiers in total that Israel didn't take any real action to release in the past few years. And they just want to highlight that Israel doesn't care about you, as if to send a message to not to go to war. Because if you recall, like for example, Israel had many prisoner exchanges with Palestinian resistance or the Lebanese resistance and other countries. But for example, in 2006, when the war broke out between them and Lebanon, where Gaza also took part because they kidnapped Gilad Shalit. So it seems like that there was some sort of a coordination there, because Hezbollah kidnapped 2 Israeli soldiers to release Lebanese prisoners, mainly. And Hamas, they took Gilad Shalit in 2006. I think that was coordinated. There were some attacks on Gaza, but the main intensive attack was on Lebanon back then. It was similar to how it is now, but kind of on the opposite side. Take into consideration, obviously, the skills, the abilities, the precision, the accuracy, all of these things. Before that, Israel had a prisoner exchange deal with Lebanon. And in the last minute, they refused to release a key prisoner that was held by Israel, who Hezbollah demanded to be released, who was then Samir al-Quntar. He basically told them, Nasrallah told them, before 2006, he told them that Samir Quntar should have been released, and you'll pay the price. But Israel's obviously arrogant. They don't want to do anything, which led to 2006. They kidnapped 2 soldiers, and they didn't tell Israel that they were killed. Israel only knew in the last second, when they reached a prisoner swap deal in 2008, that these people were actually corpses. They were killed during the kidnap action, and they were released as dead bodies. Ehud Goldwasser and Eldad Regev. And both of them were released in 2008. That's 2 years after Hezbollah kidnapped them. But what the Palestinians are trying to send Israel now, the Israeli public, is they're trying to send them a message to tell them that your country doesn't care about you. And Israel is proving to the world that it doesn't understand anything but force, because they don't take any action unless there's force against them. I mean, the only thing that reignited the release, or even the idea and people's knowledge that people's awareness that there are Palestinian prisoners in Israeli prisons, is what happened on the 7th of October. Otherwise, no one would care, no one would know anything. And so far, Israel has successfully turned many people 180 degrees when it comes to the Palestinian conflict. I mean, Israel, in many ways, what it's done in the last war has never been done by any pro-Palestinian campaigns previously. The level of awareness due to Israeli atrocities in Gaza has made so much more awareness and people becoming more pro-Palestinians and supporting the Palestinian cause because they can clearly see what Israel's doing, and they're looking through history and they're reading the actual truth, not the pseudo-narrative and manipulation that they've been lied and presented with for the past 75 years after the establishment of Israel through mainstream media and lame intellectuals online. So they've done everyone a favor by their atrocities. Everyone is way more aware now. So Hamas want to send that message to Israel to tell them that, look, this guy, 9 years in prison. It's sending them a message to tell them that the same people who are still here with us, you may well never see them again because of your government. And this is what the Israeli public is seeing. So today, a brother of one of the Israeli hostages that Israel killed when they tried to flee captivity in Gaza, he was interviewed with Radio 103 FM in Israel. And they spoke with him about a conversation that he had with the Israeli Defense Minister, Yoav Gallant. Apparently, he laid into him really hard, but he didn't just stop there. He said, I will pursue him. I'm going to follow him until he's sent to prison. Him and Netanyahu, they need to be in prison. And that's the brother of the previous Israeli prisoner who was killed in Gaza. So these people are furious against the Israeli government, especially amongst the soldiers, those who are killed in Gaza, and the families of the hostages. Netanyahu tried to visit some of the Israeli soldiers in the Israeli hospitals, and they refused to see him. Imagine, so he's the head of the country, he's ordering this genocide, and he's following it, and he's increasing it. And these people, they don't want to see him. Imagine how much of a state of distrust and division and turmoil Israel is in now. It's atrocious. It's beyond what people imagine. And people are still talking about the fact that people sobering up about what Israel's doing is not enough. I mean, we had another article in Haaretz today where one writer, he described all of the things that Israel says about the Palestinians, how they teach their children about hate, they always arm them, they tell them the whole world is against us. And he said, I'm talking about us. So everything that Israel's saying against the Palestinians, he then said, I'm talking about us here, I'm not talking about them. And what he said is, it's time for people to stop sobering up. It's time to start resisting. So it's a call for action against the Israeli government because people have had enough of the lies, of the manipulation, about the fact that Israel is not showing them what's happening, about the fact that the military doesn't have defined, clear objectives that are agreed upon by the military leadership and the leadership of the country. People are fed up by that. There was also an Israeli soldier, Bernahu Kasi, I think his name was, who was of Ethiopian origin, who had a funeral that was hardly attended by anyone. And many people in Israel said they're not attending his funeral because he's black, because he's African origin. Imagine the racism within the army itself. And they started begging people to come to his funeral because they said, we went to pay our respects to the family and we hardly found anyone there. And they started posting their address on social media so that people can come, although clearly they didn't want to go because he's African, because he's from Ethiopia, supposedly immigrated to Israel because he has Jewish roots, right? And yet they don't care about him when he's killed. Mission accomplished, done. Your turn has come and we don't care anymore. The last thing I wanted to talk about is the Israeli news on live television, they posted a photo of MahmoodOD, the secret military commander of Izz al-Din al-Qassam, who's called al-Dayf, meaning in English the visitor or the guest, because he doesn't show himself. He's been hidden for around 30 years now. The last image that was taken of him was just over 30 years ago. Apparently, Israel found an image for MahmoodOD and they released it. But it turned out that the image was fake. Yet they plaster it on live television. This isn't the first time, by the way. AI generated many images previously, and they're plastering them on television. Why are they doing that? It's because, as I stated previously, they're looking for an image of victory, for a trophy. We've got the tunnels, we've got the headquarters, we want to flood the tunnels, we're celebrating Hanukkah in Gaza, we're going to rebuild the settlements, we're in Khan Yunis, we're in Yahya Sinwar's house, and I'm going to get to that in a sec. We're in his office. We attacked the center hub in North Gaza. We attacked the main area that they exchanged prisoners in. All of that, they want an image of victory. And when you don't have a real image of victory, you artificially generate one to sell it to your public, because you're humiliating yourself and you're committing suicide in broad daylight. What you're doing is you're putting yourself in a position where your existence is untenable, is intolerable from anyone, even your closest allies. This is where Israel is headed to, led by Netanyahu and these ultra supremacist racist clique that he has, his clan, his mobsters that are with him, who are running the country. People who openly call for genocide, running a country. Would you imagine any other country this is happening in and there is no international intervention, including armed intervention to take the regime down like they talk about in other countries? Why is it not the case with Israel? And the last thing I wanted to talk about is Yahya Sinwar's shoe. So Israel obviously found Yahya Sinwar's house a few days ago, and recently we've had a report that they found his shoe. Wow, what an accomplishment. It's yet another trophy. But it appears that they checked the shoe, and when they checked the cleanliness of the shoe, it turned out that Yahya Sinwar's shoe is cleaner than their souls. So these were the main things that I wanted to talk to you about today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Take care.